Anthony, tell me the backstory of establishing your gallery here in Miami, and you know, how that came about, and then how you connected with Eric and Karen, and what were your thoughts about how you would exhibit the work in your space?
Well, I have been visiting Miami for years and have always been fascinated by its diversity, its international appeal, but at the same time, it had a organic rawness to it that was island related, appealing to me. And I started dating a young lady from Cuba. I was living between Atlanta and Miami at the time. And I was mostly spending my time in Atlanta, between Atlanta and New York, and wherever else I needed to be, being a visual artist. And then she said, "I'm not moving to Atlanta." So I said, okay. It's a woman's world. I just live here. So I said, you know, maybe I should open a studio in Miami. And it went from being a studio to actually opening a studio gallery concept, because this was 2011. 2008 and 9 was very interesting, being an artist that made a living being an artist. And I saw the galleries that I was represented in about 10 different parts of the world. They were not paying the artists. And, you know, because of what was happening in 2008 with the economic crisis, I said, whoa, well, what am I going to do? Well, I realized that I had a very strong following of collectors. And I said, well, I think if I'm going to do this anywhere, Miami would be the ideal city for me to launch this studio gallery concept, which is innovative in its own right, because a lot of time artists are not business people. They are creative people. They're not marketing people. And they may have a dynamic understanding of business, but that's not really what they want to do. They just want to paint, create, and go on with their lives and make an impact that way. And for me, it was a little bit of a survival mode, because I realized I couldn't depend on other people paying me when I produce a body of work. And I said, well, if I'm going to do this, it's all or nothing. So I decided to open up a studio gallery concept. And initially it was just of my work. And then I've always been one of those artists that had shared my collector base with other artists that I believe in. Amy Sherrill being one of them, that used to be based in Atlanta, that just went on to do big and exciting things, and Ratcliffe Bailey, Eric Mack, and the list goes on. But I've always wanted a platform where I can introduce and do collaborations. And even before I was an artist, I was a fashion designer living between Atlanta and New York. And collaborations were, at that time, was happening, but not on the level that they are happening today. And when Patrice introduced me to the concept and the idea, I wanted to say, well, who's this guy, Eric? I want to see this work. Let me see this work. And I have to tell you, I was surprised. And I was surprised because I really felt that, you know, to understand the philosophy of color and movement and energy when it comes to figures, forms, and making a statement as an artist, it's not an easy task. And Eric moved me when I saw the images that Patrice showed me. And I was like, wow, man, this guy really know how to use color. So a lot of times when I look at other artists and I look at art, a lot of them have great techniques, but their use of color is interesting. And I say that because coming from a fashion background, the philosophy of color is so important because you are setting, you are forecasting what you think is going to be hot for that season. So when you do a collection, you really have to understand color story and color palettes when you're putting together a collection of clothing. And I was a women's wear designer. So you either hit it or you may be, if you're off target, you may be out the game. Okay, so you really have to do research. So Eric's work, I mean, even I'm looking at the cover of the book and he's got this beautiful necklace done in all these beautiful green colors, which as you can see here, the cover of Harper's Bazaar with Tracy Ross on it, it's an emerald green dress. Then you have Vogue magazine with Adele with an emerald green dress. So his color story is quite interesting that the book is coming out. And I know you've been working on this for a year or maybe a year and a half, 2 years. And for you to have your color forecast so in sync with what's happening in 2021 is quite compelling. I could not have, I have to tell you, it kind of, the book makes you happy. It's, when you look at it, I have it sitting on this beautiful Brazilian piece of wood in the middle of the gallery. And I can't wait to get more here because I know my collector base and the people that we're going to invite to this event is going to be moved by it. So, you know, the combination of the words of Karen and then the movement of the book, you know, I have to tell you, it's, you're really on to something here. And I think the book is going to have great success. And I know I've kind of fast forward in the question you asked, but yes, I launched in Atlanta in 2011. This November the 11th was our 10-year anniversary. And Miami has, you know, obviously become, you know, right behind New York. It's probably the second hottest city in the world to be in. And I think the timing for this book launch, you know, doing what you're doing in New York and now bringing it to Miami, I think Patrice has done a strategic target decision that is right on with what's happening. People want things that make them feel good. People want to embrace interesting stories that kind of relates to their path in life. And I'm even looking at this photo that you did with the young lady with the pink hair, and I'm gonna flip it up.
I love that one.
This particular photo, you know, I used to be a percussionist and a drummer. He even did the drumsticks with detail. I'm like, dude, come on, dude, you on point. So anyway, I can't, you know, it moves me because coming from a fashion design background and the team here at Gallery 88 that works with me on, I do a lot of stitching on the pieces and a lot of detail, and I can be challenging. You know, I can be a straight up samurai, you know, and they're like, whoa, where's this all coming from? Well, when you studying, was it my, you know, under, you know, when I studied under a French couturier who studied under Givenchy, who French and hardcore, and will not hesitate to tell you and put you in your place, that kind of, you kind of become that in your studio and putting out work, you know, that's your seal. And once it hits the world stage, everyone sees it and everyone has an opinion. So you got to come with your A game. The Kaiser, Karl Lagerfeld, did it best. And I know you two know because we're probably around the same age. The Kaiser didn't play. The Kaiser was straight up about his business. He'll smile when he needed to smile and had a laugh, but he stayed on the top of the house of Coco Chanel, Fendi, Karl Lagerfeld. He was running 3 houses at the same time and still continued to be, you know, a haute couture designer. pret-a-porter designer, and it continued to until he wasn't here anymore. So I'm under that line of duty when it comes to artistry. And when I see Eric's work and the details in it, the guy's a natural. I mean, even the eyeglasses on some of the girls, I'm like, how you do them in powder blue and white, dude? You could have just done them in brown and been happy. No, he said, no. So I know I'm singing his praises. I'm singing your praises. I'm excited. I love Patrice because she constantly thinks out of the box. She constantly, we talk several times a week about great ideas, great concepts, and always pushing it and leaving people thinking about, wow, what's next? So this platform and this gallery here is all about what's next. And to me, this is kind of, I like that the book is not too thick, because obviously, you know, so many people are glued to their phones and they want instant gratification. So you hit it right where it needed to be. It's quick, it's sexy, it's seductive, it's appealing, it's colorful, it's alive. And you kind of take away from that, okay, I can take this in and then I can share it with somebody else in a quick. So I thought that was very, very smart. Because people don't like things that are, I mean, unfortunately, I love books. And you'll see when you come here, I collect lots of books. But I think the way you presented it and the way you're presenting it to the age group and the audience that we are dealing with in today's times, it's so appropriate.